Welcome to Plant Medicine Transmissions with Javier Regueiro. In this episode of Plant Medicine Transmissions, we will be exploring another very common question theme in regards to plant medicines, and that is food. So first of all, there are important food restrictions connected with the ingestion of ayahuasca, and those are abstinence from all fermented foods. That is, anything that in order to stay fresh needs to be refrigerated. Kombucha, cheeses, sauces, soy sauce. The other restriction is about pork, meat, and pork byproducts. All of these fermented foods, pork, prevent the medicine of ayahuasca from coming into our bodies, and oftentimes they create, once they do, a strange and unpredictable chemical reaction that may also result in an either overwhelming experience or a very confusing one. Of course, there is also the abstinence from all alcohol and drugs before, during, and after the experience. This is very important because, particularly afterwards, if we go to these mind-altering substances, they may actually create confusion. They may prevent a proper integration. I had to find out for myself at the very beginning of my journey. I don't recommend it to anybody. The main confusion that I witness in regards to plant medicines and food is the belief that we need to prepare for a retreat or a ceremony by abstaining from all salt and all sugar. Now, this is not really necessary. Total abstinence from sugars and salt is only requirement for a plant diet, and not necessarily for a single ayahuasca ceremony. Abstaining from salt and sugar long before the beginning of a plant diet results actually in arriving at the diet already totally weakened, and that is not good. There will be plenty of time during the day to slow down, to change our metabolism. If we get to the diet already weakened, this may be too weakening, and this is not really the purpose of it all. In my retreats, I simply ask my participants to prepare by a diet, mostly just freshly prepared foods, as little pre-packaged foods, food with preservatives, and also very low on milk products, which have a tendency to clog our intestines. So we simply want to arrive at the ceremony or the retreat with a light belly, with light stomach, organs, so that the medicine can already go a little deeper. Being very obsessive about it is not really the way to go. I believe that simply with a little bit of moderation, everything is fine. Food is something much larger than simple nutrients. Food is everything that we take in through our senses, and that includes the colors, the shapes of our environment, the messages in our environment, advertisement. The biggest source of food for us nowadays is information. Information through media, TV shows, movies, news, but also online versions of all of the above. We definitely take in more information daily than food, and oftentimes that intake is less than conscious. Sometimes those messages, those informations are subliminal, and we are not really aware of it, but they still affect us. So I strongly recommend for people who wish to go to a plant medicine ceremony, a retreat, to actually go on a media diet, to abstain from social media as much as possible, to abstain from information of any kind, entertainment of any kind. That information draw us outside ourselves. And the plant medicine experience is one of going inwards. So the more focused inwards we are, the more rewarding the experience will be. And by the way, this also includes newspapers and books. The plant medicine process is one of connecting with our own truths. But if we are so busy receiving information from the outside and processing that information, there is little space for connecting with our own emotions, with our own feelings and our own truths. I find it particularly important to observe this abstinence from certain foods, but particularly from media, social media, information, movies, and so on and so forth, in the aftermath of the experience. Because this leaves enough space for us to stay connected inwards, rather than putting our attention outside ourselves. I feel that living in the countryside outside Cusco with close to nothing advertising except for political advertising every 4 years, and the absence of a TV, a radio, a very limited exposure to movies, a selection of books, has actually been most conducive to my mental health. And I am very grateful for this environment that is free of messages that tell us that we should do this or buy that, and at whose bottom is the message that we are not enough just as we are, and as a result we need to purchase these products. So it's an environment that is very relaxing and that leaves me the space to make up my own mind about my own needs and desire. I know I'm pretty lucky compared to most urban dwellers. However, we can exercise some discernment. We can turn off our phones. We can exercise some degree of abstinence in our daily lives so that we can actually think for ourselves. We can connect with our own emotions and true feelings. This is the last episode of Plant Medicine Transmissions for the time being. I have no idea if or when I shall resume these podcasts, but I want to thank once again Richard Schoenbrand for letting me use an excerpt of his song Rosa from his album Dio Sana. And I also want to thank my web person who has supported me logistically, practically all these months. Her name is Natalia Cuestas Reyes, who lives in Lima. And last but not least, I want to thank you all for following me in this experience. I hope sincerely that it has been as rewarding to you as it has to me. I send you many blessings, and may the wisdom of plant medicines stay with you and bless your lives now and forever.